take first question over here on the right side.
Hey, Tyrese, what's up? Last Game 7 in the finals, Cavs against Warriors, LeBron James against Stephen Curry. You always said that you are a LeBron James fan. What do you remember from that game? You remember watching it? How was that day for you?
The day I don't necessarily remember, but yeah, I remember where I was. I remember what the game was like, the energy of the game, being with my friends and watching it all together. And there's a mixture of Cavs fans, a mixture of Warriors fans, but I think that's probably one of the greatest games I've ever been able to watch as a basketball fan, and that's what makes Game 7 so fun. And I think that, especially for people around my age, that is the peak Game 7. So yeah, I'm excited to add to the storied history of Game 7s and add to just the history of our game.
Over here on the left.
Tyrese, now that they've obviously been really good at home all throughout the playoffs. You guys have now played a couple games in this building. Just how would you describe it, sort of trying to win a game here, and sort of how do you overcome the kind of home court advantage they've been having so far?
Yeah, I think, like we said over and over, I think the controllables are the most important thing here. Taking care of the ball, rebounding, playing with the right energy. I think something that's a underrated aspect of the game of basketball is momentum. And, when you're on your home floor, and you make a tough shot or have an alley-oop dunk or make a highlight play of some sort, it gets the crowd involved. That's momentum that goes your way, and I feel like we have that with our home court advantage as well in Indy. They have that here as well. So you got to be able to weather the storm with those momentum swinging plays, try to create, momentum stopping plays when you're on the road. That's important as well. But I think just controlling what we can is the most important thing.
Dustin?
Tyrese, just how did you come out of Game 7 physically? Basically, what have you had to do over the last 2-3 days since to kind of maintain the conditioning with the calf? Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same standpoint I was before Game 6. I'm still a little stiff, a little sore rather. Good thing I only had to play like 23 minutes, so been able to get even more treatment and do more things. So just trying to take care of it the best I can. But I'll be ready to go for Game 7.
Next row back.
Tyrese, we've been here for the last 7 games asking you a bunch of questions. But during the games, we do the play-by-play for ESPN in Portuguese. And after you hit the game winner in Game 1, I said there's something special about those Pacers. I'm trying to figure out what is so special about those Pacers when you look back to the playoff run, the game winners, the epic game, the clutch times. What is so special about those Pacers?
Yeah, I think as a group, we've just been very resilient throughout the playoffs. We're a group of guys that get along really well and are trying to do something special, and I think the expectations for this group from, an external viewpoint coming into the year weren't very high. They weren't very high coming into the playoffs. They weren't very high going into the second round of the playoffs. They weren't very high going to the third round. They aren't very high now, So I think we just have done a great job of just staying together. And, there's not a group of guys I'd rather go to war with. I'm really excited to compete with these guys in a Game 7, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Next row back on the left.
Tyrese, Chris Hagan, Fox 59, Indianapolis. A lot of naysayers coming into this series about what to expect. From the outside looking in, how would you rate this series? Obviously, one more big chapter to write, but great games, thoroughly entertaining, and ultra competitive.
Yeah, I won't be able to give you a real rating till it's over. But I think that this has been a joy to compete against these guys and play in this environment. I'm having a lot of fun with what I'm doing and what we're doing as a group. So as a basketball player and being a part of it, it's been a lot of fun. And I would assume from a basketball fan's perspective, it's been a joy to watch. So, I think that's the good part about this series.
Alvaro in the middle.
Alvaro Martin of Ritmo. Last year, your defense was 7th worst in the league in terms of efficiency. This year, we went up to 19th. In the last month of the season, you were the 9th best. But then when you see your efficiency in the series, it's better than Oklahoma City's as a defense. And when you look at your games against the top 10 teams in the league in the regular season, the number 1 defense was Indiana's. Oklahoma's was 3rd. How do you explain that for the bigger games, your defense all of a sudden turns up 15 notches?
Yeah, I think we just do a great job of sticking with our system, not trying to move it from game to game. I think Jim and Jenny, who run our defense, have done a great job of just establishing, kind of our blueprint into what we do. And we're competitive guys. We want to compete against the best. And I think the buy-in from our group has been, amazing. Obviously, Drew, Aaron, and Miles kind of set the tone for what we do defensively. Pascal has been on elite defensive teams before. I feel like I've really taken a big step on the defensive end myself personally. And we've had a lot of different guys who want to compete on that end. And I think, last year we could score the ball really well, but we couldn't stop a runny nose. Couldn't stop anybody, So I feel like we've done a good job of buying in on that end. And that's called for more success, but there's still a lot to go.
Joe here in the front.
Hey, Ty. Two follow-ups from the question that was about just the crazy run. The comebacks that you've been involved with, how have they become part of your team identity? And then also, when you are a team that maybe outside of Indianapolis, like you have surprised the league again, but you guys never talk about lack of respect or anything like that. You just seem to sort of go about it. So I guess the identity question, and then also maybe why you guys aren't outwardly talking about, we deserve respect.
Yeah, I think from our group, as far as like comebacks and stuff, I think we just have done a really good job of staying at games for 48 minutes, not giving up, understanding that no lead is really safe in the NBA, and just continuing to fight through the course of games. I think that's become part of our identity. As far as like outward calls for respect, like respect isn't something that we can just like talk about and then receive. It's like it's an earned thing. So I still think no matter what happens, it's still probably not going to be where necessarily it should be or what we think it should be. It doesn't really matter though. I think from our standpoint, when we compete and teams we compete against, they respect us, and I think that's the most important thing. As far as what the media has to say about our group, it is what it is. We are in a great point right now in our organization's history, and for our team specifically. You got to be really excited about the chance to compete one game to win a championship. So just looking forward to that, man. I think all the outside narratives and all those things, they come with winning and they come with success. So, we got the ultimate test coming up, and I'm really excited about it.
Last one standing on the right.
Tyrese, hi, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good. For the past of 3 Game 7s in the finals, LeBron won twice, Kobe won once, right? So knowing those names, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, what's the winner of the Game 7? And do you feel like, let's say, if you guys win this time, do you feel like you can just be in that name list? It's just such an honor, or how do you feel about it being the name on that name list?
I just think as a group, I think the important part about winning a championship is, you got your name in history as a group. I think that's the most important thing. But as far as like thinking about anything like that, I don't really think about what's to come after the game, success or not. Just fully focused on Game 7, and I'm trying to take it just a moment at a time, really enjoying what we're doing and understanding like this is, going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest game most of us ever play in our lives, and for our organization is from a historical standpoint as well. And that's something that you don't take for granted and you enjoy as a competitor. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Tyrese.
I appreciate it.